Hi, and welcome again. And today I'm going to show you the arrival maneuver with the Maersk Montana vessel of container vessel of 292 meters long. It's an ebb tide, about 2 knots, east northeasterly wind, force four blowing us away from the quayside, and we have to go starboard side too. So swinging over starboard, and I'll explain later why we will swing over starboard. En als je ook een seintje kunt geven als we er bij de laatste delen van zijn. Ja, we gaan sowieso nog naar voren. Hè, and you'll notice those yellow markers on my port side aft. That's a working zone. They're renewing the quayside there. So I'm, of course, not allowed to enter that zone. My berth is just a beam of me between bollard number 14 on the stern, number 23 on the bow, and you'll see that number 23 is quite close to that working zone. What I'll do is I'll sail past my berth, and then once the stern is past my last bollard, number 14, I'll start swinging her around. If I swing too soon, the current will push me back to the north, push me back to the working zone, and I'm in danger of ending up inside the working area or hitting one of those yellow markers. So we don't want to do that. So I'm going to sail past the berth and then swing around over starboard. Perfect, thank you. Alright. Stop engine. En de Maersk stopmachine. And I'll give you also a quick recap of the information we can see on the left-hand side. Of course, we'll have our course over ground, speed over ground. We'll have the heading of the ship, that's where she's pointing. We will have, of course, the rate of turn, how many degrees per minute the ship is swinging or turning. We'll also have the lateral speed of bow and stern. That's quite important, especially with big vessels when you're approaching the berth, to know what your approach speed is, but also when you're swinging around or making maneuver, you can see what your bow or stern is doing, if they're staying in position, if they're moving, if your bow thruster is doing what it needs to be doing to move her in a certain direction. So that's the information we'll find on the left-hand side. At the ship's silhouette, of course, we find the distance to the berth on the bow and the stern, and we'll usually have our predictions, what the vessel will be doing with the current information provided with a 30-second interval. Now, what I find the most difficult part of this thing is actually having patience. So you have to get your stern sort of beam the bollard of where your stern will be in the end, and it takes a while. So you can't sail past at 5 knots and then you don't have time to take the speed out, because if you can see on the south side there's a shallow spot, there's also the red buoy, so you can't sail past it at a large speed, so you'll have to take it easy, and then you just have to wait, basically have to wait till you're in position before swinging. And I find, for me personally, that's the hardest part, having patience to not start swinging too soon. And remember, if I start swinging too soon, the ebb tide will push me too far north and I'll end up in a bad situation. Finding is always the hardest part because you have to have patience. Yes. I'm always like, oh, should I swing? But okay, I'm gonna try and explain why we're gonna swing over starboard side. The thing is with a maneuver, you want to use nature as much as possible. Let nature help you, be it the current, be it the wind. Don't go fighting nature. I see a lot of captains that think they have a lot of power and they work against nature, and basically you're working on the limit. Then, if something goes wrong, you're basically effed. So try and conserve your own energy and let nature help you. So let's assume we're going to swing over port side instead of starboard side. That would mean either I bring my stern over, which would mean bringing the stern against the current. So that uses a lot of energy. I will be fighting against the current to bring that stern over, which is not good energy management. Um, you can say, well, why don't you have the bow drop off to uh, port and have the current push you like that and keep the stern in position? That's also a possibility, but then you would have to start all the way on the green side, on the left hand side of the fairway, because you don't, otherwise you don't have the space to do it. So you'll have to have the bow swing over. If you continue swinging, you just stay keeping the stern in position and having the bow swing over. Um, you're going to end up on the green side of the river, and you're far away from your berth. So you'll have to work the vessel all the way across the fairway trying to get to your berth. So that's not good. If you say, well, start in the middle, have the bow swing over, you'll still have to work the stern up against the current. So all in all, it's just more energy efficient to swing over starboard and have your stern kept in position and your bow swing and have the current help you swing over starboard side.
Stop engine.
I forgot to mention, I'm being assisted by two tugboats, Fairplay 1 on the stern, Fairplay 14 on the bow, both connected with a tugs line through the center leads, and each tug is 70 tons bollard pull.
Gonna start using the aft tuck to create the swing. We will gently start swinging. Alright, we're gonna start swinging slowly. Hard starboard. Yep. Terwijl mijn roer ook altijd soms staan als het zelfs als echt Dead slow stern, please. Veertien jij mocht 50%. About 75 to starboard.
You'll notice when I give the orders for the bow thruster or stern thruster, I have a stern thruster as well in this case, or to the tugboats, I'll use percentages, usually in 25% increments. So a quarter, 50%, three quarters, or 75%, or full. So if I give a bow thruster order, I'll say 75 to starboard, 50 to starboard, 25 to port. Same with the tugboats. I'll give them a direction, straight astern, under an angle of 45 degrees to this side, and the power also like a quarter, half, three quarters. Sometimes I'll say in Dutch koppeling, which means just a clutch, and the tugboat will just barely, he'll put his engine in clutch, and it gives me just a little, uh, just a little tad of power, not too much, but enough to sometimes keep the bow or the stern in the
15
position.
kwart. En een 1 mag zo dwars mogelijk komen vallen. Stern is 120 meters from the pier, or from the quayside. That's good. That's what I have. Well, I have 124, so. Okay. We're close. Yeah. Yeah, one of the laser ones, yeah. Should be. I've got about 200 meters to the green buoy line, and that's the perpendicular distance.
Okay, and you'll see that I'm swinging now over starboard, and you'll see that I'm having the pivot point, the point over which the ship is turning, is moving aft. So the stern, I can keep the stern in position. It's where it needs to be. I don't need to move it up anymore. The only thing that needs to happen is my bow falling off to starboard, which the current is helping me. I don't need to do a lot, and it's all happening by itself. I can even have the off tug slowly drop to my starboard side and help keep the bow from swinging too much over to the port side.
Gotcha.
If you're hearing Christmas music on the background, perfectly normal. We're just having some Christmas. It's Christmas Day, so we're having some Christmas music. Normally on Maersk, Montana, it's jazz on arrival, but this time it's Christmas music.
Eén mag een kwartje trekken.
Een kwartje.
En dat mag onder een hoek van 45 graden aan. That's for stern.
Ja, positie 7.
can start using the stern thruster since we have it.
Yeah.
Might as well use it. You can put it 75 to starboard, please.
75 to starboard.
We're gonna work the stern in a bit. Keep the angle. Stop engine, please.
Stop the engine.
In dwars uit. Uh, 14. Jij mocht eens stoppen.
All right, I'm going to pause the video again for a moment, and I'm going to try and explain how I'm going to use the current to move the ship towards the berth. I can force it with the tugboats, but then, again, you're using a lot of power and you lose the finesse of the maneuver, and the current is there to help you. So what do? Is I will keep an angle to the current, and in this case, I will keep an angle towards the berth with the stern. So what will happen then is, although I'm staying in position, my speed over ground, and that's important, my speed over ground is almost zero. I am, because it's an ebb tide, I am sailing backwards through the water at a speed of 2 knots, which is equal to the speed of the current. So speed over ground is zero. My speed through the water is minus 2 knots, you can say. But because I'm creating an angle, you will get a resulting force moving me sideways, as you can see with the vectors here. So if I increase the angle, the approach speed will increase. If I decrease the angle, the approach speed will decrease as well. So with creating and playing with the angle of the ship with the current, I can play with my approach speed. If I want to get away from the quayside again, I'll just create an angle with the stern pointing outwards, and then you'll see that my ship will move out again. So that's going to be the basis of what's going to happen next. I'm trying to keep an angle with the ship to the current, facing with the stern towards the quayside.
Ik ga het er eens met de booster proberen. Bow full to start, please.
Full to start.
Yeah. I'm gonna have the tugboat forward stop. See what it does with the bow thruster. If it's working, or if it's enough power, we can let go and then you can stop.
It's probably not going to be enough.
All right. Okay.
It's very.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. With this draft and this.
All right. Okay.
Once we get alongside, it'll hold us, but it won't.
I won't do it. Yeah. Dead slow stern, please.
Dead slow stern.
En jij mocht meer naar achter komen.
Excuus, die kwam niet door.
De 1 mag meer naar achter komen vallen.
Ja, ontvangen.
The stern full to start, please.
Full to starboard.
Yeah.
Current driven.
Yeah.
Slowly going.
I'm having the aftertug drop a little bit more to the stern.
Yeah.
And bow 50 perceives. 50 to starboard on the bow.
Bow 50.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep the angle.
Yeah.
So we'll drop in like this. The tugboat hasn't been doing anything, so we're still,
Yeah.
bow is still actually working pretty well. So.
Are we going to clear those dolphins? About
Should be.
Voor de Maersk dan gaan we weer 100 meter vooruit.
Nog 100 naar voren. We have to go 100 meters.
Said that we only have 60 on the bollards. No? Okay.
I think we'll be close, but yeah, no, we still have 100 seems a bit much, but
Yeah.
Zou je niet zijn met 9 op?
no. He says 90.
We'll get in a little bit
Yeah.
and see how it all looks.
Stop the bow.
Stop the bow.
We can let go the forward tug, Captain.
On the bow, we
Yes,
can
we're
let
gonna
go
go
the
for it.
forward tug.
Stop engine.
Stop the engine.
And the stern is full to starboard, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And the bow 50 to starboard.
50 to starboard.
Doe maar een kwartje op moment. Ik ga meer speed brengen en dan... The bow 75 to start, please.
75.
I'm going to get her first a bit closer and then we'll get...
Well, they can't see this far out either.
No, exactly. So that's...
Forward tug is away, Roger.
14, jij zij los, moet je van achter de bak op. Eén heb. You have the helm as well here?
Yes.
Bow thruster is working fine, Captain. Yeah, she's
75,
fine. I got
yeah.
more than enough power actually.
Okay.
So
That's
I was I made an app myself. You got about 6,000 square meters windage area.
Yeah.
With the wind we have now, so only 8 tons of force even on the beam. So
Right.
it should be
it's
enough
about
to
20 tons.
yeah. So we should even the thruster should be enough to get her.
It's just not a.
No, it's not like you're gonna you know.
Luister, zwaait iedereen alvast naar buiten hoor.
Ja, is goed hoor, geen probleem. What's the distance?
73 and.
Alright, so the bridge should be somewhere over there then. At the first crane, that seems weird.
It seems really far up.
Yeah.
How much distance forward? Do you have your range finder?
Yeah, so right here. Yellow one.
Okay, how much do you have forward? About 90 meters. Okay. He says about 90 meters, but he doesn't have his range finder. So.
Okay. Yeah, the bridge, I think somewhere between the yellow one and between the yellow and the...
Okay.
Sorry, wat was dat?
Standby.
Ja, even niks doen. Ik heb hier
He says we have three bollards between us and the
that's 90
dolphin.
meters.
Yeah.
Ja, is goed hoor. Gewoon even niks doen. Doen we dat we moeten doen.
No, standby.
And the bow 50%.
50.
Yeah, reduce it 50. meters ahead. That's 2 ballers, so that's between.
Ahead.
Yeah. The bridge between the yellow.
In the middle of that.
Meus contatos furados, certo?
50, 50.
We may have to play with it a little bit. So we got a breast line and a stern line. We got to make sure that we don't go too far, where we actually have a bollard.
Yeah.
They don't like to hear that, but keep the ship alongside. We need to have it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can have tugboat can just push over at the
Yeah.
moment, though, but then everything's under control at the moment, so we'll planning to move ahead. Yeah, she's gaining some speed with the current. Stop the stern.
Stop the stern.
Stop the bow.
Stop the bow
Meus
also.
contatos furados, filho.
40 meters ahead.
Okay. Coming ahead another 40 meters.
40.
Stern 50 to port.
50 to ports.
Stop stern.
Stop stern. Stop stern. Not ahead.
Yeah. The last 30 meters, I'll give her a kick astern.
Yep.
That's slow.
Dead slow stern.
Nice kick. Go back to them. Yep, that's it. 30.
30 meters. 30 meters on ahead.
And the stern 50 to starboard, please.
50 to starboard.
Okay, so the rest of the maneuver is basically getting into position and working her
Stop
towards
Stop the engine.
the berth. I have one tugboat still attached on the stern. One tugboat is pushing me. The bow thruster is more than powerful enough in these conditions. So I'm just going to fast forward. And I want to thank you again for joining me on this maneuver. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. See you next time.